My name's Thomas Waddle. This is the Whisky Sour Hour, episode 9. And if you can remember back to last week, we're going to do something a little bit different, purely because I'm on holiday and I want to make sure that the episodes are getting out in order and they need to be done. We are recording this in advance, so when you're hearing this, it's actually been recorded for a little while, and because of that, I didn't want to be talking about things that, might have happened, might not have happened. So rather than speculate, I thought, let's pull something a little bit different together. Originally, when we'd done this, built the idea of this show, I was going to do a Glasgow history podcast, and the reality was, I thought, I don't know how big of a footprint that would be, so I had a couple of scrapped ideas that were sitting in a little notepad that I had on my computer. Was I going to use these? I don't know. So I've went in and I've beefed one of them out, and that will make sense in a little bit. We've filled this one out, and I think it's came out pretty well. So sit down, relax, or if you're driving, listen appropriately at the appropriate volume. But we're going to talk about Rab Ha, the Glasgow Glutton. Let me tell you a story. Bruce Fumi is going to kick my door in and be like, "Don't do that." I'm not going to. It was just a wee joke. So Rab Ha, the Glasgow Glutton. If you can imagine, we've all been to a night out. You've been in the pubs, been in the nightclubs, wherever you've been, and you end up, maybe back at an afters, or as kids today are calling it, a gaff. You go back to the after party. We're not calling it a gaff. Go back to the after party, bit of music playing, maybe a little bit of food's put on, a couple of sausage rolls in the oven. That's the majority of what it is. You're having that, and then you walk home at like 5 o'clock or later in the morning, and you nurse a hangover. That is it. That is your night by with. That back in the day, back in the 19th century, I think that's just not going to be happening. You're going to have your night out, and you're going to head up the road, and you think to yourself, well, we can't really be blasting music because MP3s, streaming services don't exist. So what do we do to entertain the people? Well, you invite Big Rab Ha round, and you're going to pay him to eat all the food that you put down in front of him. So it's not going to be kebabs and all that kind of stuff, although, to be fair, I've seen myself after a night out wanting to murder a buffet of kebabs. But you get him round, he eats all the food, he's have a good time, merriment is had by all, and you head up the road. I think we can all agree that is a good night, but what is the background here? Why or how did we get to this point? Well, Robert Hall, or Rab Ha as we'll call him, the Glasgow Glutton, was born in 19th century Scotland. So, just in the west coast, where we are right now, or where I am right now. You could be listening in the west coast of Bangladesh, who knows. He was renowned for his amazing eating ability. So he was originally a farm labourer, so you can imagine back in the day, it's a heavy job. Anybody that's done a bit of labouring will be able to tell you that, but especially back in the 19th century, probably pre steam engines, you're ploughing the fields with your horses, you're working up an appetite. I don't think a ploughman's is going to cover what you're wanting there. So originally a farm labourer, he abandoned the conventional employment to lead a life of vagrancy. I think we've all wanted to just chuck it and live as a wandering vagrant. Maybe not on the west coast of Scotland. If it was maybe somewhere nice and warm with plenty of orange trees to pilfer. But he had a prodigious appetite, and it became legendary, and he'd been known to consume up to a stone, so about 6.3 kilograms of potatoes in one sitting. And there was, going back to what we just said earlier about beef, there was rumours that he ate a calf that had been butchered and put into individual pies. Anybody that's had a steak pie, and Hogmanay, New Year's Day, it's one of the heaviest meals you're going to have, that and Christmas dinner. So to eat, say 10 large pies with a calf, I'm hoping it's a small calf. I don't imagine it's going to be, like a Belgian blue, maybe a smaller one than that. But yeah, sat down, tanned all that, and was ready to go for more. His eating prowess made him so popular that various figures would rent him out to come to social gatherings like horse races or fox hunts, where spectators would bet on the quantities that he could eat. One notable event was an eating contest in Glasgow's Saracen Head Inn, where Hall competed against an Englishman known only as the Yorkshire Pudding, and he emerged victorious, so much to the delight of his supporters. Despite his fame, he led a life of poverty, so, like, getting your dinner is good, but, at the end of the day, cash is king. I use my card, I use, tap, contactless. Cash is king was in the script. I'm not one of those. We're getting sidetracked here. So to kind of put that into a modern context, you can imagine how many people do you know? They'll sit down and watch ASMR videos. Now, I can't remember exactly what ASMR means, but we could do a bit of that right now with a microphone. But I personally cannot sit and listen to that. But out with that, you've got mukbang culture, which is, again, freaks me out. I do not want to hear people slurping on, like crab legs or whatever they're choosing to eat. But there is obviously that. Is it a fascination? Is it for want of a better term, a fetish to see people, eat? How many times did we sit down back in the day and we'd watch Man vs Food? We'd watch Adam Richmond, eat maybe the hottest chicken wings, but he'd also eat like a boil, a crab boil with like reindeer sausage and all that, and you're like, he's not going to be able to get that down, and he does. I mean, how many Facebook pages do you see people travelling all over just to eat? Now, I love it. I love going out to a nice restaurant, and I'm no big on buffets, so it's obviously just there's something ingrained in us. We can't look at a car crash. It's car crash TV viewing for the 19th century here, so freak shows, all that kind of stuff. It just tickles that itch at the back of your mind that you just want to spectate on the grotesque and freakish. And it does make you wonder if Rab Ha was on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I'm pretty sure he would have a vast following. You've got I think it's the 4th of July, the Independence Day hot dog eating contests in New York. It's one of those ones, you have to think to yourself, I'm pretty sure he would smash that. Have you ever seen them? It's the dunking of the hot dog bun in water just to get it down. I don't recommend YouTubing it. I feel like you end up going down. My YouTube algorithm has been absolutely ruined by trying to find doing a bit of research and information in this. But yeah, you've got a guy, Joey Chestnut's just knocking back the hot dogs. Grim watching, but there is an audience, and that's where Rab Ha made his living. But unfortunately with that, the fame that came with his immense appetite did not translate to wealth. And Rab Ha, sadly, there is no dates for this. I have tried many different articles, and the recurring date that was coming in was November 1843. Rab, in a stupor after a night out, relying on goodwill offers, he was found in a stable or a hayloft within Hutchison Town, Glasgow, having likely succumbed to the cold after a heavy night of drinking. So as you can imagine, he's been full. He's went back to wherever he was laying his hat, whether it be a hayloft or a stable, and he's not made it through the night, because those November nights can be very, very cold. But that's not where Rab Ha's legend ends. His legacy lives on through Rab Ha's bar and restaurant, located in 83 Hutchison Street, Glasgow, in Merchant City, and it pays tribute to Hall's legendary appetite and serves as a reminder of his colourful character in Glasgow's past. It's somewhere I would recommend just jumping in, having a wee bite to eat, and just, as I say, we spoke about it last week, giving a bit of thought to the architecture and this building here, and you can enjoy it, but at the same time you need to think of the intangibles, and that is where the name came from, and one man's appetite and how it led to the naming of this pub in his honour. So touching on what we spoke about there, everybody does have that kind of morbid curiosity or fascination with I want to say the absurd, but for want of a better term, the kind of freakish, nature of seeing gluttony or anything really. Like you tend to gravitate towards these things just because it is so out of the norm, and it's bizarre, especially back in those days. You couldn't just Google what it looks like for a man to eat a calf. You would need to actually pay for it to happen. So, you would invite Rab round, that would happen, and everybody would leave satisfied. I'm not sure if that's the right term, but I'm pretty sure he was. I mean, you'd probably be rolling him out these parties that he'd be going to. But yeah, obviously today you have it's a really bizarre culture, watching just people overeat, and I enjoy a good meal as much as anybody else, but some of these mukbang content creators are just, it's just gluttonous. I'm pretty sure David Fincher's Seven would take some inspiration. You could do a modern version of it with all that, but grim. But yeah, it was just a quick one this week. As I say, I am out of the country. If you follow the socials, you'll see that we're in New York enjoying the scenery. I'm hoping the weather's good because, like I say, I'm recording this prior to going. What I will say is, if you follow us, you might see obviously some posts regarding food. Maybe you could. Would Rab Ha have approved of this mutton chop that I am eating? We'll soon find out. But yeah, just it's a bizarre one. I just love the history of Glasgow, and when we were, like I says, originally doing the build for this podcast, it was originally going to be the Glasgow History podcast, but I just found myself gravitating towards Scottish history, and at that point, you're going up against, like I mentioned them earlier, the likes of Bruce Fume, and to be honest, I love Dan Carlin, but I'm never going to be able to be on that level or dedicate enough time towards that, just because life has a way of getting in the way. So there will be bonus episodes like this. I'm still going to call it a number. It's not going to be like a sidebar or something, which is a pretty good little term. Or somebody said a Whisky Sour Chaser, which I really liked as a shorter episode. So we're going to do these, sporadically when we need them. The next one I'm planning on doing, which already has a better script than this one. As I say, this was I hadn't planned very well, and I ended up having to go through the old notes, because I knew I had this Rab Ha one kind of roughly written. It's just because it's not well documented. There's a lot of speculation that you could do. I mean, you could say something like, Rab Ha fought on the beaches of blah blah blah, and like people would be like, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But yeah, there's not a great deal of that. But the one that we're planning on doing in May is well documented, but no many people know about. So I'm looking forward to how that one will go down. But that'll be May that we're looking for that one. But as I say, this is just a shorter episode, just to get it out there and still be a presence out there. So I apologise. There will be more long form chats and interviews in the pipeline. They're brewing away, simmering away on the back of the stove at the moment, just to keep it all food related. That's what I like to do. So if you've enjoyed the show, please, as always, shorter than usual, give us a like, follow, share, subscribe, whatever you can do to boost us is much appreciated. And for everybody that's sending the little messages, congratulating us on an episode going up, or if the episode doesn't go up, because Fanny Boz here forgets to put AM rather than PM on the 10 o'clock in the morning show start, which it should be 24-hour time. I don't use AM or PM. I'm 24-hour loyal. That's what I like to use. That's my one. So yeah, I really appreciate, at least it shows that people are listening and taking the time out of their day to send us a little message. It just makes it worthwhile, and as I say, we spoke about that before. So yeah, it's shorter, sweet, but it's been a lot of fun. I've been Thomas Waddle. This has been the Whisky Sour Hour. Don't even say it. We know. Cheers.